Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Pair Theory Podcast, episode 4. My name is Justin Ross. With me, as always, Mr. Craig Youngblood. Man, we had a pretty damn good episode come out for episode 4 on YouTube this week. It was the family home. If you guys haven't gotten to check that out, please do go over to the YouTube page and check that out. This one was pretty cool. We got to help out a family. We had a guy call in, and I don't want to spoiler anything, but he called in, and he's a massive non-believer, and he needed some help to make sure that he wasn't going nuts, and we were able to go in and give him some answers. It took a few tries, but we got a little bit more than we bargained for on this episode. At one point we were doing the setup and we were just getting things put together, and we had a music box and a cat ball laying on the floor. We were just getting, what we'll do is we'll go through and we'll get all our trigger objects set up, and then we'll start investigating. We'll make sure everything's running, everything's good to go, and then we kind of go into it. But sometimes, like even at Milling Sanitarium, we had things happen while we were setting up. Cameras weren't even rolling yet, but luckily on this one, cameras happened to be rolling, and I'm going to play the clip right here.
Why's the cat ball going off now?
Why is this thing going off? We're standing right here in this hallway.
Jesus fucking crap. I got fucking touched on my back. I got fucking pushed just now, Craig.
Seriously?
I got like pushed hard.
So as you can see in that, I got frogged. It felt like somebody put their knuckle like right in my side. And I mean, I jumped. It hurt like hell, and it like progressively kept hurting through the night, through the investigation. Like it just kept, like the pain kept growing to the point where I woke up the next day and my wife was like, honey, you've got a huge bruise on your back. And I ended up going to the doctor to get checked out, and he was like, were you in a car accident? And I was like, no. He's like, were you roughhousing? I said, no. He goes, man, because it looks like you got hit with a baseball bat. Like he looks like somebody just rammed you right in the side with a baseball bat. He's like, were you in a fight or something? And I was like, no, you wouldn't believe me if I told you what it is. You'd think I'm lying, making shit up. But
I'm fighting with the ghost.
Yeah, like how do you explain that, right? Like I was
standing at the doorway and this dude wanted to get through, but we couldn't see him, so he just hit me.
It just knocked the shit out of me. Whew. So
that's when we were setting up, wasn't it?
that's what I was getting at. We were setting up. We weren't even investigating yet. We were just getting everything in its place. And we had done this investigation a couple times. And the first time we had some friends come out and join us, this and that, and the vibe wasn't right. And we were having things happen, but not happen. It just didn't, like I said, when it busts down to just Craig and I, it's more concentrated. We're concentrated on the situation. We know what we're doing, and we can start getting some answers. And not all the time, but most of the time, like I'd say like 99% of the time we do. We get answers when it's just us. And we definitely got some answers that night. Yeah. So, which is cool in the series because Family Home kind of kicks off the rest of the season. It's just you and I throughout the season. Yeah. And once you see it just start to ramp up, it's just like, whoa. But what do you think about that investigation? We had some crazy things happen on that investigation, and keep in mind we got to keep it nameless. We can't tell you where we were at. We're keeping it disclosed. Like we can't,
yeah,
can't tell you the location for the family's safety.
One of the things though is we had to go back because we didn't know anything was going on upstairs. The first time we went, we thought it was all downstairs.
Right.
But I think one memorable part is it's kind of funny because we were, again, setting up and we had some friends over there with us and we're all sitting around talking and they're not believing. They're like, yeah, y'all make this shit up, whatever. So we turn that spirit box on, start asking questions. We start getting answers. And he's like, okay, how many people are sitting here? And that thing goes 4. And he was like, I'm out.
I'm out.
Y'all.
Yeah, he was gone. He was like, no fucking way. No way. I mean, sometimes when they want to talk to you, they'll talk to you.
Yeah. That was probably one of my most memorable, that one. And then whenever we were setting up and you jumped, I was like, what the hell are you doing? So, and then I was like, I asked you to, I lifted your shirt to look at your back and you had a big red spot right by where your kidney's at.
Yep.
So.
Frogged me. Frogged me good too, man. I was just like, son of a bitch, that hurt. Like that did not feel good at all. Yeah.
Something happened right there in that bathroom that we didn't catch till afterwards.
The scene comes on.
Yeah.
We're in the movie room and we're asking questions, and then you can hear like the water like and turn off. I was like, no shit, water turned on. There was a few things going on like that. Like we had straight up electric voice phenomena going on while we were downstairs doing the interview or the intro, talking about where we're at and this and that. Upstairs, we're catching a hello. We were hearing voices talking coming through in the audio. Corey Blair, which is now Corey Vise, he changed his last name, but it said his full name, and that's my fiddle player, and he had nothing to do with that investigation, but it said his full name, Corey Dwayne Vise, clear as day on the spirit box, and he wasn't even with us on that investigation, which I thought was crazy. I mean, he doesn't live too far from there, but still, it was like, why, what? Like, why would that come through? And it wasn't like randomly. It was like Corey Dwayne Vise. And then it said Vise again really loud.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was pretty nuts. So there was definitely, activity going on to a point to where, like, when we got done, one of my scariest parts of that whole thing for me, besides getting hit, 2 things. One was when we were up in the movie room. Here we are again upstairs.
Yeah.
Right as we sit down, there's like this doo-doo-doo-doo, like it sounded like giggling from a child.
Yeah.
Down the hallway, and we caught it on the audio. But the most terrifying thing was when we were tearing down. We were in the garage. And it's pouring rain outside, and we're trying to get loaded out, and we heard I can't even describe it. It sounded like a guttural scream, but like
someone being murdered.
Yes, totally. Like somebody was getting hacked. Like somebody just got a fucking axe right into their throat, and they could still, like, their vocal cords were still able to work a little bit. It was like, oh God, dude.
I still remember hearing that.
Yeah, we both jumped up like, what the fuck was that? And we're not like it. We're not, out. I can't describe it. I can, but I don't want to give away where it was at. But we're not in an area where it was like
quiet country neighborhood.
Yeah, we're in a neighborhood.
Nothing's going on, and nobody's stirring when we're leaving, because it was dead silent outside when we were leaving at like 5 in the morning.
Yeah.
In the morning, and then you just hear that scream.
Totally, dude. It was blood curdling, man. I was like, holy shit, like, it's time to go. It's time to get the fuck out of here. Let's go. And then we got out, and man, I gotta tell you, like, even after, like, I called him back, and I told him, I said, dude, listen, here's the answers. Do you want me to do this in person, or do you want me to tell you over the phone? He's like, just shoot it to me. I'd rather just know than not know. And that's when I talked to him about it and said, man, look, something's in here. And I don't think it's one thing. I think it's a lot of things that are passing through here like a gateway.
Yeah.
It's just revolving like a record, but it's intelligent. It's intelligent enough to tell you what's going on, what time of day it is. It knows its surroundings. It didn't want us there. It was very dark. I said, and if you want us to bring a priest in and bless the place, we will. And he said, I would rather do it with somebody I know. And so he had local pastor come in and do a blessing on the home. And he says, because he was ready to sell it, he was ready to get out. I mean, he's only been living in anything for like 2 years. And then he was like, I'm ready to sell and move right now. And, like his daughter wouldn't sleep upstairs. And now he says that nothing's happened since the pastor came in.
Right.
Since the pastors come in and bless the place, nothing's happened. Everything's remained calm. But the kid still won't go upstairs and sleep by herself.
Probably just from trauma, from memory.
That's what I said. I mean, because if you remember, like, even though it was a smaller, like, skinny home, it was still a big home. Like, it was still pretty good size. And the way it's laid out, like, the bedroom isn't technically that far from the living room. It's just how you got to get there to get up to it, So for a child, yeah, it might as well be 2 miles away.
Because don't the stairs go up and turn and then go up again?
Makes a horseshoe. Yeah. Comes up. Man, let me get these dogs to shut up. Hey.
They're not going to listen to him. They run that house. They do what they want.
Anyway, yeah. So it was really interesting to be able to give that guy some answers, because this dude, like, oil rig boy, hard worker, the last thing on his mind is anything paranormal.
Right.
Like, the last thing on his mind. He's got shit going on with his family. He's got, this isn't his wheelhouse. Nor does he want anything to do with it.
Yeah.
So his original claim when he came to me was like, look, I got home from the ball game, or I got home from work, watching the ball game on TV. It was on a Sunday. It was in the middle of the afternoon. And he said he thought he heard the chair moving in the kitchen. He thought maybe an animal got in there. And then he realized that the chair was moving on its own, he went to investigate it. And that's when he said it sounded like 2 pans slapped in his face, like inches away from his nose. It made his ears ring, and he grabbed his shit, turned the TV off, and went and got a hotel for the night. And then he comes to me that week and tells me what's going on. And I'm like, what? Like, I'm just saying, if I had 2 pans slapped in my face, I'd shit myself and then be really excited, because I'd be like, we got to find out what this is. Kind of like getting hit in the side.
Yeah.
Out of all the investigations, that was the one that, like, stuck with me the most, because even past Northwestern Hills, like, because it hit me, like, literally popped me, visually. Northwestern Hills, you can't beat that. That's unbelievable.
Yes, it is.
Well, I wanted to do something special for the viewers today. I want to talk about we're going to do this in reverse of what I asked earlier. What's one of the main reasons that you, as Craig Gunblood, that is attracted to the paranormal and works with my dumb ass and paratheory?
I just always had experiences as a kid and always wondered how I knew or felt things. One of the first things was when I was pretty young. My great grandfather was in the hospital pretty sick, and I had been asking to go see him. And my dad told me, he goes, we'll go see him tomorrow. And I just straight told my dad, I said, there's not going to be a tomorrow. We need to go tonight. And he goes, no, we'll go tomorrow. We'll get up in the morning and go. I think it was like the weekend or something. So I remember getting up the next day, walking in the kitchen, and my dad and mom are sitting at the table, and he calls me over to him and he tells him, My great grandfather had died that night. So there was not a tomorrow for me to go see him. That's one of the things. Another thing was when I was younger, I was with my mom and we went over to my grandmother's house. And back then, she was at the beauty shop getting her hair done. And we walk in and I noticed something out of place in her kitchen. And I tell my mom, I was like, we need to get out of here. I was like, we need to get out of here now. She's like, no, we're okay. She goes, I got to go to the bathroom. I was like, no, we need to leave. And she's like, no, I'll leave the door open. So she went in, peed. We left. We go to the beauty shop to talk to my grandmother, and she calls the police. And because I tell her we tell her what's going on. So she calls the police. When we get back with her, the police have the house surrounded, but there was no one in there. Well, several days later, they ended up catching the person that actually broke into her house. And when the police officers talked to him, he was in the house while we were in there hiding in the shower in the back master bedroom. And he said he could hear us in the house. So I didn't know what was going on. I just knew I didn't feel right and I needed to leave.
So more of a premonition kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's some of it. And then the other one was my grandfather that lived, from that same house. He was real sick with leukemia. And my mom couldn't get a hold of my grandmother or anything. And he had been going to getting blood transfusions and all that. So she pages me. So I'm like 19 years old. I'm up hanging out with some friends. I go over there and he's real sick. I'm having to pick him up, put him in bed, all this stuff. So at the very, he starts feeling really bad. So we call 911. But I had picked him up, take him to the bathroom a couple times, set him on the bed. And then I was holding him as the ambulance arrived. And he just looked up at me and his eyes rolled back and his brain hemorrhaged and died.
Oh my God.
So probably within that week, I was at home and I wake up and I look, and at the end of my bed, I see him standing and he's just got his arms like this, just looking at me. And I'm sitting there looking at him for a minute, and I look away and I look back and he's gone. And I was like, there's no way I imagined that.
Yeah.
Like, he came to check on me.
Totally.
So I guess ever since then, and then at my great aunt's house over in South Fort Worth, I used to go take care of that, mow the yard. And there were several times I'd be mowing the yard and you would see the curtains move. And she was in a nursing home. I was the only one that had keys. And there was nobody else in that house. I searched it.
Yeah.
And there was nothing in there. And I come to find out that house was used as almost like a halfway house for soldiers coming back from Vietnam. They would stay there. They would help them get on their feet and stuff. So there was my great uncle died in the den. And then, so there were several deaths in the house, but there was always something going on in that house, and I never could pinpoint it, but I always had feelings of what was going on. So, when I found out you were doing that, I'd been telling you I wanted to do it. So
yeah,
I just kind of wanted to see if these were isolated incidences or if we can really get communication pretty much anywhere where there's history.
Well, I think we've figured that out. Yeah. I mean, I've been in places where, nothing has happened. Nothing. Like, it just comes down to nothing. Like, we just have nothing all night. We've had investigations like that, where it's just been like, and then we find shit out in the back end.
Yeah.
'Cause that's what the gear's for, Well, that's really interesting, man. So after that, did you have, like, through your life, let's say from that point on, did you have like little things that would still, you would catch happening, and just in your mind, you're just going, well, because you kind of come numb to it a little bit. So did anything happen after all of that?
Yeah. I'll tell you a story I don't tell many people because they think I'm crazy, probably.
Well, we're fucking nuts for doing what we do anyway. I mean, we're called paratheory, for fuck's sake. We go out and talk to dead people.
I was working in the oil field and I was driving nights, and I used to talk to my aunt quite a bit. And my grandmother me and her were really close. I'd always stay over there. When she had her stroke, I was one of the only people she recognized. And one night I was hauling water in the oil field and I went out to Glenrose. I was way out in the middle of nowhere. And I was the only person around. There was no one else. There was no one that ran the disposals. We just pull up, dump the trucks, fill out paperwork, and leave. So I turn and round the corner to radio in for the next my next load, and I look up and I see something in the sky. Like it looks like it's like white and glowing, kind of in the woods, barely off the ground. And all I see is it looks like there's hair, and I can see something looking up in the sky, and it's just bright. I have no idea what that is.
Huh.
So the very next day, so this is around 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. The very next day, I work nights. Paula comes home at lunch and wakes me up, and I'm like, what's wrong? What's going on? My grandmother had passed away at 3 o'clock that morning.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and I was on the phone with my aunt, and she knew it had happened, but she didn't want to tell me because I was driving, and she knew how close we were.
And that doesn't happen to everybody. Not everybody gets an experience like that where they get to experience this this closure or a goodbye or not everyone gets that, man.
Yeah.
It just is what it is. You know, um, I always personally thought my mom was nuts when I was a kid. Because she'd tell me about things about my great grandmother and her and how it all came to be with her psychic abilities and this and that and then I didn't believe it until the Amber Hagerman thing happened, and then that's when I was like, "Holy shit, mom! How the fuck did you know that?"
I was telling somebody that story the other day, but I couldn't remember the girl's name. I just remembered some of the details you told me that she knew that no one else knew.
Yeah, totally. All spawned off a conversation from her and dad talking about it was on the news, and they were talking about how they still hadn't found her and this and that. It was early in the morning. We were all getting ready to get out of there, and he was like, "Well, if you," because I think they said something like something on the news was like, "Today, no new news in the Amber Hagerman, trying to find Amber Hagerman, blah blah." And then mom popped off, was like, "Well, they're looking at the wrong place. They're never going to find her over there." And the dad was like, "Well, where's she at? Like,
Yeah.
psychic, where is she?" And she goes, "Well, I'll tell you where she's at. She's down off the Trinity, and she's got her legs. They're going to find her with her legs sticking out from under some brush, and she's laying next to the water, and she's got bite marks all over her body. But they're going to find her about a quarter mile down." And he was like, "Okay, well, he said something like, east or west of the 360 corridor." And she was like, "It'll be on the west side towards Fort Worth." And he's like, "Well, if you really know that, then why don't you call the police and tell them that?" And he was like, "Yeah, I'm call the police. You got to think this is in the 90s.
Yeah.
Like, it's not real acceptable back then. Nor is it now, even
Yeah.
unless you get called in on one." So she calls and says that, "My name's Molly and I have some info on Amber Hagerman. I don't know how to tell you this, but I think I know where she's at." And they were like, "Okay, where is she?" It was just because I'm sure they've been getting thousands and thousands of phone calls. And then she told them um, what she had told dad and I, and they got her name and number, and then they came to the house and they had found her that morning. They just hadn't released it to the news yet, and they found her right there, exactly like mom said, right off 360, about a quarter mile down on the Trinity River, legs sticking out. And when mom had said to the detective that she had bite marks all over, they had definitely not released any of that information, but she did. She had human bite marks all over her body,
That's great.
butt naked, under a big brush pile. Yeah. She'd been raped and beaten and killed. And so then now we have the Amber Alert. So I was a child. I was like, God, I don't know, 11 or 12, something like that when that happened. that that wasn't what got me into paranormal. That was just like, how did she do that? What got me into paranormal was the house we lived in on 128 Cuff Lane.
Is that where the shop's at?
Yeah. Yeah. That's where dad ended up dying at.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that place was evil, as evil could possibly get.
Yeah.
I really think that it affected their marriage, like right before he died. Like, totally. Dude, I can still, I think I can still hear your fan going.
That better? That better?
I think so. I can't tell if it's fan or if it's white noise from the computer.
It could be my freezer. It's plugged in.
I don't hear it now. Yeah, we're good now.
Probably okay.
Huh. That's weird. Anyway, now that house, I think I was 8 years old when we moved in. And it's a huge, huge house. And that house was so big. And it was one home that was originally built, and then it was added on to. Oh, this just driving me nuts.
What is it?
It's just the way I'm sitting. There we go. This is better. I'm trying to think of what. There was so much shit that happened in that house, man. I was on one side. It was like corridors. We weren't rich by any means. We were renting this house when my dad had worked a deal with the owner, and he mowed lawns and this and that. And so we were able to get the rent really low in order to make this happen. So the original living room would be down on one side of the home, and master bedroom was down on one side of the home, and the new master bedroom was upstairs on the other side of the house. So literally, like 800 feet away, like fucking far. I mean, it was really big, and you couldn't hear. I could be playing guitar down on the other side of the house on a full amp, and you couldn't hear it upstairs on the other side of the house.
Damn.
And so if something happened to me, they would never know. I remember we even bought those little, they were like intercoms they were basically powered walkie-talkies. So you just plug them into the wall, and they had like shortwave, and then you could hit a button and then like talk to the person upstairs kind of deal.
Yeah.
Because it was just like such a trek to get over to the other side of the house, And it was an L-shaped home that had been added onto. It was one of Colleyville's first homes. Now it's used as a massive office space, which there's a whole story that comes back around to that house later on in my life, which blew my fucking mind. But that house is the reason I got into paranormal. Like, always was attracted to it because of the shit we had happen in that home. That was everything from dark shadow figures coming out of my closet, orange juice getting moved from the island over to the countertops, milk. Like, what if you made yourself a drink, it would, like, you would turn around and put shit back in the fridge, and you turn around and your drink could be moved to the other side of the room.
Damn.
Walking, tons of walking. The house was on pier and beam, so you could hear people walking through the home. And I could hear it constantly. It sounded like dad walking through the living room, or mom, and I'd go out and check and be nobody there. Doors opening and closing. We had an incident one night where I kept telling dad like something was going on, and he didn't believe it. And he thought it was my imagination. I was being a kid, this and that. And his shop, one night dad and I are in the living room.
Hold on.
Huh.
So, which happened first? The videotapes or what you're fixing to tell?
What I'm fixing to tell.
Okay.
The videotapes came later.
Oh, okay. I thought that was first.
No, this is the one that really, Because like once that noise is back. Yep, it's definitely that. Is it blowing at your mic?
No,
Is
it's
it blowing? I think it's blowing onto your mic is what it is.
okay. Is it now or
No.
okay? I just have to position it different.
So Dad and I are in the living room, and you can see through the back window out to the shop. And the lights came on in the shop, and that's what caught his eye. And in that shop is his race car and his lawn maintenance stuff. And so lights are on, door is standing open. Dad says, sit tight, stay here. If you see me wave like this, call the police, you know. And he grabs a gun and goes out there and goes into the shop and doesn't find anything. Well, he comes back out, locks the door, shuts the lights off, locks the door, comes back inside, and then we both see a man go into the shop because we had like the whole back wall was windows on this living room, right? So we can see everything going on. And it catches our eye, and the lights come on, and there's a guy where there's a grown man. All we can see is like this black shadow of him, though. Like, you know, it's like dark outside, and the lights shining from behind him towards us. And he goes into the shop and shuts the door, and Dad says, call the police. And he grabs his gun and goes out there after him, because there's only one way in this shop. There's no way out unless you open up a garage door, and all the windows have bars on them. So he's not getting out through a window. He's not climbing up in the attic, you know, nothing like that. And it's a big 2-car garage, huge shop. It's like 4,000 square feet. It's big. And he goes into this thing looking for him, checking under the race car, checking under the lawn mowing trailer, checking behind this wall where we had the big air compressor out, shit, trying to find him hiding. He doesn't find shit. And the police show up, and Dad's like, there is a man in my shop. I don't know where he's hiding. He's in the shop. And so Colleyville PD go in there, and one of them racked off a fucking round at the guy because they thought that he was holding a gun at him. Like he came out from behind. They said he came out from behind the air compressor.
So
like, they saw him. And when he came out, I guess he had the body because it's lit up in there, but it's kind of dark. It's not like real bright like your shops are today. We just had like normal light bulbs in there. And they couldn't tell what he was holding, and they told him to drop it, and then they just shot him. And they shot at him, put a hole right through our fucking wall on the backside. Thank God there was nothing but a junkyard behind that place. And there was nothing there. And the cops were just like, I know. And now they got to explain to the city why the fuck they discharged a round out of their gun.
Yeah.
You know, shooting at ghosts. That's what it was. And Dad could not believe it. Dad knew and swore there was somebody. I don't know how he got out. He just went on. He went with that. Like he didn't want to believe that it was a ghost. He wanted to think this was a man. He got him. I don't know how he got out, but he got out. We must have seen him slip. He didn't see him slip out the door or something. I was like, well, that didn't make any sense, Dad, because the cops saw him.
Yeah.
The cops told him to freeze. Put your hands in the air, and he didn't do it. And then they shot at him. 2 guys. So you plus 2, that's 3, and plus me, that's 4. I saw it too. All of us are wrong. You know, he'd argue about, I don't know how he did it, man. I tell you what, he'd been in there, come back here again, I'll blow his nuts off with a fucking double barrel shotgun. Blah, blah. He'd go off on it. It was, and I learned later on, it was just him coping with it. Right. But the night that really got his attention and that really let the family know, hey, there's something fucking here, was the night of the videotapes. So I'd gotten in trouble at school pretty good. And we had this big bookcase right up against where the TV was at. And it folds open. You know, it's like one of those ones that would close up. You'd lock the top of it. So you would open it up and all your VHS tapes would be down in, in the back and on the sides of the door. So it wasn't very big. It was, maybe, I don't know, 5 foot tall. and about your size. It's your size. They've been huge to you. So, Dad drag raced, and he had all of these VHS tapes that were unmarked. They were marked on the film, but they weren't marked like on the tape itself. So they're all just blank tapes. And he had a shit. There was like 80 of them, like 80 or more, right? And then we had all these other tapes, like another 100 tapes where he had filmed stuff on TV, like, fucking movies, shit like that.
You could just stream it on demand.
Yeah, that was streaming on demand back then. We had the big ass satellite in the backyard that turned and fucking, you could pick up the porn station just right if you paused it. You know what I mean? That's how I got to know Playboy so well. Anyway, fucking, he made me, basically, I had to watch all the videos, find out the year and date of them and where we were at for the races, and mark it down on them and put the tape on them, and then put them in alphabetical order by year as well, and it took all day. I mean, it's not like what we got now. This is a VHS tape for you kids that don't know what that is. It's a little square box, and you got to put it inside a bigger box, and you got to press play. And so it's a reel-to-reel for the 80s, 90s child. And so I had to put all these in order. It took all day. It literally took all day. I think I started somewhere around like 9 a.m., something like that. I didn't get done till like 9 p.m. So finally, I get done with all these, and he comes in there, and I was like, Dad, I'm done. I wanted to shit. And I closed it up, and I locked it. And he's like, well, come in here and eat your dinner. It's cold now, but I wanted you to get all that done. And I was like, yes, sir. So I come in there and sit down to start eating, and we hear this big boom. This big thing happens in the living room. And Dad's like, what the hell? He jumps up out of the chair. It sounded like somebody kicked in the front door. And the bookcase has slung open, and every fucking tape that was in that thing from the bottom shelf to the top shelf was strung out all over the living room. And I was like, see, I told you. He's like, no, you just fucking around. You didn't put that together right. And we're going to sit here while you put, I didn't need the rest of your dinner till you put the rest of this shit back together. And I was like, shit. And I'm like, what the fuck? I'm pissed. He's, what the fuck did you say? I was like, nothing, sir, nothing. And I sat there and now I'm just looking at tapes going, okay, this one. I could kind of remember, and I've been doing it all day, and it took me like an hour, and I put them all back together. He's like, all right, I'm going to close this thing. I want to show you how to lock it. He's like being an asshole. And he closes it, and he locked it, pulled the key out, stuck it up on top of the deal. He goes, see, it's locked. That's how you got to do it. There's too many damn tapes in here, Well, how about it? Let's go back here into the game room. So as we're walking to the game room, boom, shit goes everywhere. Fucking door sling open, and all those fucking tapes went flying all over the floor. And I just looked at him, and he looked at me and he goes, okay, now we call the police. I was like, yeah. All right, well, what are you going to tell them?
Yeah.
What are you going to tell them? You going to teach them how to lock it up again? Boy, I got an ass whooping for being a smart ass about that.
I bet you did.
I did. Woo. Still feel the fucking belt across my ass for that one. It's like, because I remember saying something like, what are you going to do? Show them how to lock it again? So with all of that, that's really just a piece of the pie of that place. And going forward in life, I kind of just noticed the balance between what's real, what's not, and that in between. And I could feel it in the room with me. I just knew when it was there. And I can almost tell you when we walk in somewhere. I can tell you by just walking in the room. I can tell you if I'm not psychic, but I'm not a medium.
Yeah.
But I just know the energy. I just know it all too well. And it's weird. It's like the only way I can describe it is like when you go into these old buildings and you go into like so many of them and you smell that kind of molded asbestos smell. Yeah. Right? So you could be blindfolded and go to a building like that and be like, I'm in an old building. I'm in like a barn or something, but I could smell that smell. I'm in something that's had a lot of rain damage, and it's well, okay. Take that example and then go. I know what this feeling is. That's what that feeling is like. When I walk in somewhere, I'm like, oh yeah, there's definitely something here, you know. Or when something comes in the room with us, I'll be like, okay, whatever it is, it's here. You know,
Yeah.
but if it's not, I don't feel shit. And then most of the time we don't have anything happen. Like when we were at the one we got coming up, my door just opened. And my dog just walked in here. Okay. But I know I closed that motherfucker. Not milling. The one we got coming up this Thursday, Halloween night. We got the Waples Plantation comes out Friday. And so this week we have 2 episodes coming out. We have Halloween night, that we have the Waples Plantation, where, oh man, what a fuckery of a deal that is.
Yeah. Went there a few times.
Yeah. 3 times. One thing that we didn't even get on tape was the fucking catching of the drums.
Oh yeah.
Like that was fucking crazy. 3 times. We went out there 3 times. We went out there 3 times. I think the 4th one was with the other team. No, it was 3 times total. I can't remember. All I know, it was the 4th time or 3rd time, the last time that we went out is, and I think the reason that we had so much shit going off is he had just fucking cleaned everything.
Yeah.
He disrupted everything that was going on, and it stirred it up.
Yeah.
He stirred up a fucking hornet's nest doing that shit. And this place is open to the public. It's called Howell Family Farms. It's in Arlington, Texas, and we call it the Waples Plantation because it belonged originally to Colonel Waples, who had a huge part in our food processing, our food plants, the Waples Platter grocery store, part of our train system that ran through the meat markets, was part of the elite of Dallas-Fort Worth, and mysteriously was just killed in front of his house on the railroad tracks that he paid to put in by his own trolley that he paid for. just couldn't get out of the car. Like, you're a colonel, you can't move. Like, it's not like they pulled up and then the train came out of nowhere and hit him. Like, it was on the track, stopped, and for a while that bell's. So I found out that they have 2 bells, and I think we talked about this in the episode about how they have a bell on it for in the city, ding, 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 as you're going to the city. And then as they're going on those railroad tracks out in the country, they had a blowhorn, like a steam engine horn.
Okay.
Yeah. So they're blowing on that thing, trying to get him to move, and his driver just sat on the tracks. It was a total setup, and you guys will find out why when you watch this Halloween night. Like, and if you have any questions on it, we're more than happy to answer them for you. But what we find out on this investigation kind of blew our minds, because it went a direction that we had no intention for it to go. Zero intention.
Not at all.
Not in a million years would I have thought this is going to go this way. This is what we came up. What? Like, to a point where I even talked to Craig about it. Like, I don't know, man. Maybe we shouldn't put this in the damn video. This is a little, One, I didn't want to piss off Scott Howell. It's a beautiful place, though. It really is. It's gorgeous. What he's done with it is nothing short of amazing. Yeah. I'm not sure he's going to tear down that house, but if you're a paranormal investigator and you want to go investigate there, you can do so. Go to howellfamilyfarms.com, I believe is what it is. Message them and tell them that you want to do a paranormal investigation at the house, and they will set it up for you. So it's a big old fucking home, though. That house is huge. 4 stories. It's got a basement, living room, upstairs, and then a child's room upstairs, which is real long. It's dude, everything about that place is weird, and you'll see it all Halloween night.
And how the closets go all the way through on that upstairs room.
Yeah, the patios wrap around. It's like a colonial style.
Yeah.
I mean, the basement was like a servant's quarters. I mean, ugh. God, dude, that place just gives me the willies, man.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, totally. I mean, this is when you think about haunted houses, this is it. This is a haunted house. You know, did we walk away knowing this place was haunted? 100%. 100. You're not going to convince me otherwise. There is going to be no fucking asshole that comes on here and is like, well, it was the fucking towers and the shit over here making... Shut up. No. No. I've never seen an Estes session go like this in my entire life. Like, this Estes session blew my fucking mind.
Especially because train there and you were still answering. Both of us.
Dude, and when that, you weren't bullshit. When that train comes by, because you're blindfolded, you're in like basically your own deprivation tank. You got headphones on, noise canceling, blindfold on, this thing's in your ear, going a mile a minute, and then this train comes by. I mean, it feels like it's right on. I felt like I was about to get hit by the train.
Yeah, I did too.
I couldn't hear a fucking word you were saying. I mean, you're not supposed to.
Yeah.
You know, but Craig would ask me something, I'd be answering on top of his question. I mean, it was just one after the next. And the Estes session drags out so long because it's just fucking one after the next. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1. Just back and forth. I'm just like, God damn. And not just yeses, no's, but it was like answering questions in detail. Names that we were able to actually go back and look up, and you will see what we caught in episode 4, the Waples Plantation with Paratheory. And then on Friday is the Big Kahuna, November 1st, in between. And the reason we did this is like Halloween, Day of the Dead's on Saturday the 2nd. We're in between, which I think is kind of cool.
That is cool.
And yeah, man, listen, you've heard us tease about it in other podcasts, but what we caught at North Richland Hills PD / Platinum Music Studios in the original jail there is the holy grail of paranormal footage, to a point where we've had to rethink what the fuck we're going to do with this show.
Yeah.
What do we do now? You know, what do we do?
Yeah. I want to go to that place in Colleyville.
To my old house?
Yeah.
Yeah. I would like to.
I wonder if they'd let us come in that office space.
I don't know. I go back and ask. That'd be kind of weird. No weirder than them calling me about what they called me for. So going back to that. So I get a call randomly. I'm in 27, 28 when this happened. 29.
Damn, it was a long time ago.
As I know. It's 14. It was over 14 years ago. So it's been like 15, 16 years ago. I get this call and they're like, is this Mr. Ross? And I go, yes, it is. And they're like, was your dad's name Larry? And I go, yes. They're like, you're not going to believe this, but we're at 120 Acuff Lane. We're at your old house. And I said, okay. What, did you find something? I thought maybe like under the house, maybe that he hid something, you know. And they're like, no, we're an office building now. And we've been having really weird things happen here. And we did this, and he was just real like stuttering at me and was like, this is just really awkward to say, but we're just kind of wanting some answers. he's like, we did a recording session where we tried to get this thing to talk, and I think we have your dad on tape telling us your name and telling us to get a hold of you. And I said, what? I said, this is crazy. I said, sure. So what do you want from me? And they're like, well, would you mind coming by? And I was like, sure. So I came by and I listened to it, the tape, and lo and behold, it is Larry Ray on there. He's saying my name and saying his name and saying, call him. And I said, where does this all take place at? They were like, well, they showed me. I go, it's funny. That's the place he died at, right there. It's like,
Oh, really?
it was in the exact spot that he died at.
That's crazy.
It was weird, man, because that place doesn't look anything like the home I lived in. You know, it's all offices now.
Yeah.
And so, but I could feel it. It was like it never left. Like whatever. And I told, like, I said, can I have the room to myself? And I basically said, like, Dad, if you're here, like, you can move on. We're fine. I got Mom. We're good to go. You can move on. Don't let whatever is dark in this home keep you here. Like, you can go. Move on. And I've never gotten another call from them about that. I think some of the staff was really weirded out when it all went down.
Oh, I'm sure.
I can't even believe that place is still standing, like, to be honest. Like, even though it's office buildings, like, everything in that neighborhood has become, like, really nice. Like, even the property across the street that sat there vacant forever finally got bought. They put new houses on it, you know, tore down. There used to be a house directly across the street. It was an old farm home. They tore it down. They tore out all the businesses. They bought the whole block.
Oh, wow.
So all that shit's gone. The scooter shop that was up there on the end's gone. Leather shop's gone. You know, and they're just putting in, like, new homes all over it. So it's only a matter of time before that place gets bought up, and that whole little industrial part is
Gone.
yeah. I would love to go back there and do an investigation.
Yeah.
If we could. Yeah.
I'd be down.
I don't know. I might drive over there and just stop by and knock on the door. Remember me, fucker? I'll talk to Dad. Let me in.
Yeah.
That was one of the most, in my 20s, that was one of the most, like, holy shit moment kind of things. Like, that's my dad's voice. I had that recording forever too, and I still don't know what happened to it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's on a tape. It's not in here. I think it got lost in the move.
Probably in a box somewhere.
Probably. So yeah, 2 big episodes coming out this week.
That's crazy.
Milling, man. Not Milling. I keep saying Milling. Waples.
Yeah.
We had quite a bit of shit go on at that place. That was just like, wow. It was so big. It's a vast area. You got a cottage, you got a big 4-story home, you got a big old barn that's been remade into a big wedding venue, you got the tracks where he died at, you got the fields where all the native battle happened at between the 2 Indian tribes. You got the Trinity running right along there. It's surrounded by water. The whole thing's like one big, you know, I never really thought of that.
Yeah, that could be a conduit.
That could be. That very well could be.
Plus the train. There's a lot of energy right there in that little area.
They do pumpkin nights out there, so if you're out there right now walking around, just know that you are walking on haunted land 100%, and it ain't the pumpkins and the trees. And if we'd have just looked in the fucking bag, we'd be $40,000 richer. Damn it. Did we tell this story on the podcast already?
I don't think so.
I think it was like the second time we went out there to investigate. Was it the second time? Was it number 2?
Yeah.
Yeah. we went to go. Yeah, it was number 2. That's right, because we went to open the door to the back, and the kitchen had been barricaded.
Yeah, with that big glass table.
Yeah. Yeah, we couldn't get in, and then Craig checked the front door, and it was dummy locked. Somebody had broke the lock off, and
Bolt cutters.
Yeah. But then they put it back to make it look like it was locked,
Yeah.
And we go inside, and we swept the house with a pistol and went through there. Didn't find anybody, but there was a bed. And there was like a battery-powered fan light thing over on one side. There was a backpack laying on the floor, and we found some money on the counter, like $1 bill, and we weren't touching it because of the whole fentanyl thing. I said, I'm not touching any of this. And then we think we got him pinned down in the basement because I heard something move down there. Something was moving around the basement, and there's no light, so I didn't want to go down there, even with my gun. I just said, look, dude, all you gotta do is come out and leave. We're gonna be investigating here tonight. Just leave. Just grab your shit and go. We're not going to call the police. We gave him all the options. He wouldn't come out. And so we ended up calling the owner. He called the police. The police showed up, and then they brought SWAT. And then SWAT went in there, and they came back out, and he was like, did you guys happen to look in the, you didn't happen to like take anything with you, did you? I was like, no, just called you guys, or called the owner, and he called you guys. We're standing out here getting ready to film. And he was like, you didn't look in the backpack? And I was like, what backpack? And he was like, yeah, there was about $40,000 in cash in there, and probably $500,000 worth of cocaine and heroin. I was like, what the shit? Damn it. God damn our modesty and honesty.
Yeah.
I could use 20 grand right now. I'm just saying.
Good too.
Yeah, no shit. Have a fucking badass camera right now. I'll tell you that much. Probably a new van.
Yeah.
So the two episodes coming out this week, man. Halloween night, Waples Plantation, all on YouTube. Make sure you guys check that out. As well as November 1st at noon, we'll have the NRHPD Platinum Music Complex season finale come out. So it's our last 2 episodes for season 1. Make sure you check those out. And if you haven't seen any of the season, go back and watch it. There's 4 episodes out right now, and they're all great. Well, there's 6 episodes out right now, technically.
Yeah.
So make sure you go check them out and rewatch them. Get ready, enjoy your Halloween. You got any plans for Halloween? You gonna come over here and help us feed the kids?
I don't know yet. I might. I ain't doing shit here.
We got a bunch of booze left from the Halloween party, so we're gonna sit out in the driveway with a cooler and a bag of candy, feed kids candy, and give the adults drinks.
Oh yeah.
Let them run around the graveyard.
That's cool.
I think Bob and Sarah are coming over, and a few others just hang out and chill. Did you have fun at the Halloween party the other night?
Yeah, it was fun.
Yeah.
Were some of those people from Glenda's work?
Well, there was a few. You're talking about the tall dude and what was her name? I think her name was Stephanie. The one that she's a massage therapist.
Maybe.
Little Red Riding Hood.
Yeah, and then there was Chucky.
Chucky, yeah.
Who was the guy with the Lone Star?
Lone Star?
Isn't that his name?
Neil Johnson. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and Kyler. Those 2 dudes I went to high school with.
Yeah, Kyler's like introducing himself to me. I was like, I know who you are, dude.
Yeah, we've met a few times. Well, he's sober now, so he's it's like a whole nother mindset. He's like, reset. Have I met this guy?
Next to paychecks, I was like, yes, I was.
Yeah. You don't remember peeing on the bus, bro?
Yeah, he told me he did, and I was like, yeah, I know, trust me.
I know. We cleaned it up.
Yeah.
Dick face.
We were sober because I was working.
That's good old Kyler.
Yeah.
Good old Mr. I'm gonna piss where I want to. We had a tour bus and we were out at Rednecks with Paychecks, and our band played a concert. And the driver somebody did the unnecessary ticket number 2 on the bus, which you're not allowed to do. And so the bus driver was like, well, fuck that. And he locked the door. So now nobody can do shit on there. And we're on our way back from Rednecks and Paychecks, and Kyler woke up out of a drunken mess and had to piss. And he just said, fuck it, went down and pissed on the floorboard. Like, but he was wasted.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, never mind, there was a whole patio on this bus that you could have stepped out on and just pissed on somebody's car or the trailer for that matter.
Yeah, that was funny.
Oh, I know. There's that. So,
yeah, it was fun.
But this isn't going to be our last podcast. We're going to keep these going every week. We're going to keep this going even through once we start shooting, and we're going to start leading into some stuff on there. So I know that we've been doing these after every episode, but we will continue to do these next week. We'll continue these podcasts going. Thank you guys so much for watching and paying attention to what we're doing, man. It means the world to us, especially in a time where, paranormal is taking a back seat. And if there's anything you'd like to see us get out and do, if you know a place that you want us to go investigate, type it in the comments below, and you can email us at justinrossbooking@gmail.com. Email me there and give me some info. That's justinrossbooking@gmail.com. And then please hit the like and subscribe here on the YouTube page. And man, we can't do this without you guys. So thank you so much for everything. Yeah. It's a nice t-shirt, Craig.
Thank you.
I really like it. Yeah. I'm still jealous about your studio setup. It's so black and lightsaber-ish. It's awesome. Maybe we should get on here late night Halloween and do a live podcast. What do you think? Live podcast Halloween night?
Your house, do it from your house.
Ooh, it's a good idea. You could do that.
What happens?
I'm trying to think about how we could do that on Zoom, or we just do it with one camera.
Yeah.
It's not a bad idea. We're talking about taking the podcast out on the road, just taking it to some of the locations and doing the podcast from inside the location that we did an investigation in. Would be kind of cool.
That would be cool.
Be cool to go out and do it at Granville home.
Yeah.
Yeah. Set up in the living room in the dark.
Oh, yeah.
Woo! Podcast and night vision.
Yeah. So I was going to say, have the night vision on us.
I don't think so. We just run red lights on the walls, just like we do here.
Yeah.
Do it there and see if we pick up any sounds. Have an external mic, just see if we pick up anything.
Yeah, we could spin a mic around on top of the camera away from us.
Podcast investigation.
We could do our task cams for the audio.
We seriously could. Could do that. Put a ribbon mic in the room for audio capture in the room.
Yeah.
That'd be cool. I'd be down to do that. We got ideas flying all over the table, but we got to start zeroing in on them because we got season 2 coming up and around the corner. We're going to get started on that. Season 2, I'm hoping will be out midsummer. So make sure that you guys finish up season 1. But I'm hoping that we can, somewhere around midsummer, start releasing episodes, or we might just wait until October and release episodes then. But we are going to have a blooper reel coming out soon. So I'll be waiting for that. Get to see some things that you may not want to see, or you may want to see. Get to see legs kicking off the. Get to see me jump a whole bunch.
My daughter videoed that and sent it to me.
I know you told me. Are your feet touching the floor? Yeah. Look at mine. Oh, shit. That's good.
They'll see that on Halloween night.
They will see it. If you're watching, you'll see that episode Halloween night. So happy All Hallows Eve to you guys out there, man. Happy Halloween. And we will see you soon.